on this week's edition of Vents, we have an Evergo spinner. Model 4F4LWB3S. Could also be titled under Habicrap Special because, as you can see, the canopy, upper canopy, downrod, and lower canopy are all different finishes. You have a white union upper canopy, a brown threaded union downrod, and the rest is antique brass. Oh yeah, and it has vents. And it has a 3-speed shift knob. And a little sticker basically saying, put the fan on high speed when started. So, this is a 3-speed model. Cast aluminum, which is par for the course for all of the plated finishes Evergo offer, meaning just polished brass and antique brass. They're all going to be cast aluminum, not iron, for whatever silly reason. I don't know why Union did it that way, but whatever. But yeah, this one is vented, which is very unusual for Unions, but it exists. Now, these are rare, right? I have seen one of these once. Only once in the wild, and it was straight 3-speed pull chain, whereas this one uses a 3-speed click knob. The fan probably dates to 1982. Okay. Alright, now I've seen the 3-speed click knob on other Evergos, such as the Romas, right? But not on the spinners. Normally, when you see one of these spinners, alright, it's variable speed. That is, if you see one of these at all, because these with the switch housings are uncommon to begin with. So yeah, pretty uncommon combination here. It's a 48-inch fan, and yeah, let's see what it does. Okay. Nope, that's high speed. There we go. Another notable feature of this Evergo are the downward pitched blades. You don't see that very often. Well, actually you do. You see it more often than I'd care to see. Alright. Evergo's had a neutral pitch and a downward pitch. The downward pitch was usually... Oh yeah, they also had a little bit of an upward pitch as well with the industrials. Upward pitch, neutral pitch, downward pitch. I think Evergo did this in order to channel the air into more of a downwards column. More effective with industrials, but they did it with the residential models too. So, as you can see, low speed is really more of a medium because again we're using an industrial motor to drive wooden blades. This one also has the nice mutant blades with the seemingly wraparound, you know, bases and the weird tips and the weird badges. It's also not overly loud, probably because it's 3-speed. In fact, it's quieter than a lot of Hunters. Put it onto medium. feel like I hear a very high-pitched, faint bit of harmonics here. So for a lot of fans of this sort, right, this would be straight up high speed. Okay, so we had medium speed, we have high speed. Now we have tornado mode. Now, being an industrial-based spinner, it basically means that there isn't much pitch to the blades. Blades probably have 11 degrees. It's moving a fair amount of air for what it is. Now, let's let it coast. And also set it back to low. Again, with the downward pitch, it's usually what you see with, you know, old Union first generation gold lines. Right? You see downward pitch there because the downward pitch, right, gold lines all used curved tip blades, which are meant to, you know, move the air more outwards. But you also want more of a, you know, a column downwards to, you know, so they thought they'd have the best of both worlds by downward pitching the curved blades. So some would be pushed around outwards, but also you'd have a channel going straight down, a funnel, if you will. So, I mean, yeah. But with the wood blades, I mean, I guess the same theory applies, but, you know. Now, as for vintage spinners, right, you know, they exist in general terms, right? CEC, right, with their stamped shitty little Georgians, right? Those came both vented and non-vented, although normally you see them without vents. Okay. Most Evergos came non-vented. Occasionally you'll see the vents, right? View fans, right, stamped ones, occasionally you'll see them vented, every once in a while. Although the cast iron ones were also vented, which is particularly rare for view fans, but again, cast vented spinners do exist. Most common of which is the Palco. Those 48-inch things with the copper paint, right? Let's reverse it. They are the most common cast vented spinner. Now let's turn it back on. Now, because this is an industrial motor, it means it's biased for one direction. So, you try to run it in reverse, it doesn't like it very much. In fact, at lower RPMs, it kind of twitches. But, I mean, and it wobbles a bit more in reverse. But as you can see, the lower speed's more normal in reverse, at least from a residential standpoint. So, I mean, because, yeah, it has a bias, downdraft bias. You know, where it's fastest in downdraft because that's the direction it was meant for, right? And then when you try to reverse it, it runs slower because it wasn't really designed to be run in both directions. Only later on, when, you know, residential models became more prevalent, did they finally make a motor that, you know, likes to go both ways with a symmetrical high speed, in other words. Let's put it to medium. Now, in terms of rarity, again, I've only seen one of these in the wild until this one popped up at Habicrap. Alright, vented Evergos, really, really not common. In fact, according to one person, this is the first one that's actually surfaced among collectors. So, whew! Go full blast. Oddly enough, this thing actually performs more normally in reverse in terms of the speed range than it does in downdraft. So, but yeah, in terms of motor hum, there really isn't much to speak of. I mean, again, usually you see these with variable speed, which means they have that 60 cycle hum. This one doesn't. So, all of my other, you know, switch housinged Evergos have a neutral pitch. This is the first one I've seen which has a downward pitch. The pull chain is simple on and off, although I'm almost tempted to replace it with a three-way so I can control a light from it too. Because it's an on-off pull chain, a forward reverse switch separate, and a 3-speed click knob. So, it can be done with ease. The blades with the antique brass ones are usually teak. Although sometimes there are some exceptions to that. And there you have it. A 3-speed click knob, switch housing, vented Evergo spinner.